I think it feels pretty clear to a lot of the fan base, especially everybody who is, maybe even people who are reading from day one, that Fujimoto definitely got burned out. And even so, I think probably got burned out because he had less of a plan, it seems like, for this one. The coherence of part one and kind of the lack of coherence in part two, it seems like there wasn't really anywhere to go with it. And I think this ties into the structural piece, which is they're linked in a way that you can't really explain one without the other. When we got to the start of part two, you basically had Kishibe, Kobeni, Yoshida, who is preventing Denji from turning into Chainsaw Man, and we see Quan Chi. He's killed everybody else. Makima's dead, Power is dead, Aki's dead, Beam is dead, and starting with basically a whole new cast of characters. As someone who's a Venture Bros fan, I've seen it sort of done before. Spoilers. The Monarch, who's kind of the main, not villain, antagonist. His two henchmen, 21 and 24, are kind of a dynamic duo. They're the funny guys. They're having so much fun being themselves and being such a great duo. So when Doc and Jackson kill 24 off at the end of season 3, it's like, what the fuck? They've really just gotten their groove going. There's nothing in storytelling that says you can't kill your dynamic duo, but what happens when you do is that you need to find a way for the character who lives, 21 in Venture Bros and Denji in this case, to show the impact of that. We see in Venture Bros, he goes on a fucking vision quest. He gets really good at being a henchman and becomes this kind of ruthless leader of henchmen. Gets Hedge for Life tattooed on his stomach. A little Tupac Shakur homage. He's running down his list of people he thinks that killed 24. And he's got his skull with him. He's talking to 24. We even get to see some of 24. It's enough to soften the loss of him, but also make you understand that he's going through it because of what he's lost. And with Denji, he's kind of always going through it. There's so much death going on that it doesn't hit for Denji, understandably, right? It's just another thing. So the emotional weight of those losses just sort of feel numb. It's when the tone doesn't change, when the tempo doesn't change, when the same thing keeps happening. It's like watching a war movie when bullets are just whizzing the entire 2 hours, right? And explosions are constant. Your brain eventually just goes oh, that's just normal now. That's just normal for what this thing is. I don't need to pay any special attention to it or give it any weight. And in the same way, Denji's default, within the story is just constant loss, constant shittiness. So comparing that structurally to the weight of 21 losing 24 in Venture Bros, it's totally different. Because 21, yeah, he's a loser, he's a schlub, he's, lives at home, whatever. But that weight is real because it's the first time we see real loss. So we see a main character, somebody we've spent a lot of time with, die. And the problem too is that he set himself up with Power kind of coming back, right, for the final, what ended up being her final goodbye. That she makes a contract of hey, I'm going to give you my blood and I'm going to die. But she made a contract with Denji, and that set expectations within the reader that the next part is going to be him processing the loss of Aki, looking for power. But when you create expectations for your readers that characters they loved, that were great characters that you chose to kill off, have a reason to come back, or a reason to be found, or a reason to at least be written about and pursued by the main character, by the protagonist here, and you don't do that, then you better be doing something a whole hell of a lot better. And that, I think, is the real problem, because basically Fujimoto went and introduced Asa Yoru, who's fine. I think some people really love her, and that's great. I thought she was just kind of a goofy love interest, and Yoru's the horny war devil stand-in for American military industrial complex, I guess. I don't know. I don't really think of Asa / Yoru as either of them really being memorable characters. I think Bucky's probably the most memorable character we met in this, him or Fumiko. But yeah, when you kind of just start over from scratch in part 2, it's very telling from the readers and the fans is that everybody wanted a part 3. That level of hope and cope that people had of, he's got to bring somebody back, whether you wanted it to be Rezo or Aki or Power, that there was some reason for these characters to come back. But yeah, there's never really any movement on the things that people wanted to see with the characters that we wanted to see. And I think I think that's part of why Fujimoto, to tie this back to, I kind of said things where I said this was all inseparable. And it is, because I think part of why Fujimoto got bored and got burnt out, these characters were fucking boring, and all the great characters he had were dead, and he didn't know how he could bring them back or a way to bring them back, or maybe didn't want to bring them back at that point. But I think if part 2 had met the expectations he set, or at least had set out on the next part of the story of Denji trying to figure out how he was going to get to hell and finding the Blood Devil, then getting her back to Earth, right? And then finding her again. Maybe Nayuta's interesting in that way all of a sudden. Maybe he learns things from what Nayuta is to help him become friends with power again. But exploring all of that, I think, could have kept at least the readers more interested, maybe could have kept Fujimoto more interested, is what I'm saying. I'm sure the weekly cadence doesn't help at all, but it just seemed like he got really bored and really burnt out. And to that end, I understand the reset ending. It's the horse meme, right? The horse's ass is drawn beautifully. The leg looks great. Wonderful animation. And then it's like a 5-year-old drawing for the rest of the horse. That's kind of what this feels like to some degree. He ends up back with power. Fujimoto never really has to address the contract. Pochita seems dead, but he's also, we see the eyes and closed eyes and mouth when Denji just runs into not Asayoru, just Asa, playing soccer with everyone and about to kill Bucky again. He's retconning all the bad shit that happened. And that's what's so weird about the dissonance of this moment is Chainsaw Man just put out maybe the best, at least to me, the best anime movie of the last year. They just recently announced the Assassin's arc, and we got the trailer for that. I mean, in terms of the anime, it's popping, it's hot, everybody loves it. And a lot of people have complained about part 2 for quite some time. Ending it here is like the culmination of it, and I don't know that had he taken a longer road to get here, or if this was always the game plan to end with some kind of reset, like some people have suggested, this was always a plan. He just did it way faster because he got burned out. I saw a couple of those comments today, which it also could be true. I think part of what people are upset about is how all of a sudden and out of the blue this is ending. The expectations for something that is so popular to have a proper ending, yeah, people are upset in that regard as well. They're not just upset with the content itself, they're upset with the doodling of the front half of the horse meme that this feels like. But I don't think there was ever really a way to salvage this. Ending it where he did just was like, hey man, let's pull the ripcord. I'm burned out. To be fair, I would have to imagine this is probably a pretty big weight lifted off his shoulders. So it's like, yeah, dude, the pressure of having to fucking pump these out every week and having people constantly disappointed in what you're doing after they fucking loved what you did for part 1 and we're ready to rock with you for a while in part 2. It's weird though. Like I said, the dissonance of the moment is interesting. I don't know what else you can compare it to where, it's not that the reality is misrepresented by what's online, or it's not that the truth behind the scenes is something other than what everyone else is seeing. It's just these two public moments that are existing about the same thing with opposite reactions. I would think most of the manga readers have also seen the show and the movie, right? I mean, maybe there's some people who are just manga readers. If you're out there, that's crazy. And let me know if you are out there, if you exist. There's this group of people who have no idea, unless they're just keeping up with Chainsaw Man discourse, that people are upset and that it ended, and people are saying the ending's shitty and pissed at Fujimoto, and like people are at the Fujimoto part of the let him cook Fujimoto cycle, which don't do that. I haven't been in for whatever it's been 6 or 7 years since chapter 1, so I don't have the time equity invested that some of you guys do, so I don't want to say you should find it funny, but the older you get, the easier it is to laugh about stuff, and it is a little bit funny that he just kind of said, fuck it, I'm out. There's something charming to that to me, and maybe that's just me, and that's fine. I know I'm my own kind of weird, but if you're going to end a story like this, I mean, could give the people what they want. That's how it felt. And in that sense, I think it is a little funny. Now that it's done, I'm certainly going to go back and reread everything just because I think part 1 is great. It's going to hold up as one of the great manga of this decade. And, I'm excited for the rest of part 1. And like I was saying to a buddy earlier today, part of me hopes they just say, okay, part 1, we know how people feel about part 2. Let's just stop there. Or maybe Fujimoto has some time and can write something different for the anime. Like I know Kaguya is getting a different ending, so maybe something like that'll happen. But what a time to be alive, huh? So hey, if you dig this and you want to hear more content like this as opposed to kind of my more measured and written out essay approach, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. Links to support stuff, they're in the description. Till next time, peace.